Dean Arnold Corll was born on December 24, 1939, on Fort Wayne, Indiana, to Mary Robinson and Arnold Edwin Corll. He was the first of the two sons of the couple. Corll's parents separated in 1946. After the separation of his parents, Corll's mother, Mary, took her son and relocated to Memphis, Tennessee. As a child, Corll was timid and rarely socialized with children around, but was fond of them. In 1955, Mary remarried Jack West, and together they started a small family candy company named Pecan Prince. The Corll brothers operated the candy-making machine and packed the product while his stepfather sold them on his sales route. From 1954 to 1958, he attended Vida High School. After his graduation in 1958, his family shifted near Houston. 2 years later, he moved to Indiana with his widowed grandmother. In 1962, Corll returned home to help in his family's candy business. Upon the divorce of his parents the following year, his mother started a new candy business, Corll Candy Company, of which Corll served as the vice president. In 1964, Corll was enlisted into the U.S. Army, but requested an early acquittal, which he was granted in June 1965. It was during his time in the Army that Corll first explored his gay tendencies. After his discharge from the Army, Corll returned to Houston and resumed his position as vice president. During that time, Corll was nicknamed the Candy Man and the Pied Piper for giving free candies to local children. He befriended David Brooks, one of the dedicated workers in the candy company, who later became his accomplice in the murders. In 1968, his mother and half-sister moved to Colorado after the failure of the candy company, leaving Corll behind, who took up work as an electrician at the Houston Lighting and Power Company, HL&P, testing electrical relay systems. In 1970, Corll committed his first murder. His victim was Jeffrey Conant, an 18-year-old freshman whom he caught by offering him a drive. Conant was strapped to a plywood torture board and sexually assaulted before being brutally killed. After Conant, Corll continued his brutal onslaught, his next targets being James Glass and Danny Yates. He lured them into his car and then sexually assaulted them. He buried them in the boat shed. By then, he had recruited David Brooks by offering him money for every young boy he lured to him. Corll next picked up two brothers, Donald and Jerry Wardrop, and took them to an apartment on Mangum Road. He raped, tortured, and strangled and subsequently buried them in the boat shed. By 1971, Corll had captured and killed three more victims: Radel Harvey, David Hilliest, and Gregory Malley-Winkle. Corll changed his address twice and captured three more victims who met the same fate as the other boys. In 1971, David Brooks lured Henley to Corll's house as an intended victim. However, instead of victimizing the boy, Corll lured him to deal $200 for every boy that Henley would lure to Corll's apartment, lying that the boys were used for white slavery ring operation from Dallas. Initially, Henley rejected the offer, but when met with desperate financial needs, he accepted the offer and started bringing boys to Corll's house. His first victim was a boy, Willard Branch, from Houston Heights in February 1972. A month later, he lured Frank Aguirre to Corll's apartment and accidentally learned of Corll's real intention for the boys. The knowledge, however, did not stop Henley from further helping Corll in his vicious acts. Corll constantly changed his residential address and did not stay at one apartment for long. With his new assistants, Brooks and Henley, Corll targeted almost 10 teenage boys between February and November 1972, 5 of whom were buried at High Island Beach and the rest 5 in his boat shed. After a period of inactivity from February to June 1973, Corll resumed his brutal acts and increased the frequency. In just 2 weeks, he victimized 2 teenage boys, assaulted, tortured, and buried them at Lake Sam Rayborn. In July 1973, when David Brooks got married, Henley became the sole procurer of victims for Curl, and he brought Curl 3 more victims who met the same tragedy. Curl's last victim on August 3, 1973, was a 13-year-old boy from South Houston named James J. Mala. Dre Mala, who was abducted by Brooks and driven to Curl's home, where he was tied to Curl's stretcher board, raped, tortured, and strangled with a cord before being buried in the boat shed. On August 13, 1973, Henley and Brooks assisted police in their search of the victims' bodies, of which 27 bodies were discovered. Curl is recorded to have killed a minimum of 28 victims, the worst ever macabre recorded in American history. Thank you very much for watching our videos. We'd like to give you another interesting video for you to enjoy next. But before then, our team will be very happy if you can like this video and share it with your friends on social media. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss other interesting videos like this. Look at your screen now to see 2 other interesting videos we handpicked for you to enjoy next. We love you.